Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order by site, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Swarms of the Multiverse, offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms. Plus, you get instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus materials such as 4 new demiplanes. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take your potions to the next level in your game. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. Please support the channel by purchasing one of our books using the links in the video description. Before we talk about this week's new releases, we have to talk about our exclusive discount for you this week. It's Necromancer class from Dustin Harriman. It's part of the Christmas in July sale where they've got it off a little bit, but we're giving you 33% off with our discount, which is greater than the sale going on right now. It's 23 pages, and it brings to life playing the Necromancer as a class. It's got the ability to cast spells, sling curses, raise the dead to serve you, manipulate the undead, and sap life from enemies. And it's got optional play rules with 5 fully fleshed out classes, including the Caretaker, Reaper, Hexmaster, Exorcist, and Golem Lord. And it has this resource pool called Essence Points, which you gain through the studies of Essence, a mysterious life force that suffuses all living and animated things. Throughout your experience, you'll have the option to customize your Necromancer. You get to choose your subclass at level 2, then you get an animator style at level 10, and then your capstone, of course, at level 20. And each subclass is a little different. So the Caretaker, they raise superior minions utilizing an undead thrall at lower levels, and then a revived monster later. Then you've got the Exorcist, which specializes in their control over and defense against the undead. And later they learn to possess the living with these powers. And then you've also got the Golem Lord, which raises a bulwark for their legion, a semi-animate creature with extraordinary capabilities made of clay, ice, wood, or stone. So lots of stuff gone into this. I mean, 23 pages for a whole new class. That's a pretty good size. Normally when we see a new class, it's smaller than that. So you've got the inside here that you can look at. You can look at 5 pages before you buy. So it gives you, the intro to the class, and then you've got your table showing you the maximum controllable undead. So early levels, you're not controlling any, unless, of course, your subclass grants that. But then you've got all these amount of undead you can control. So up to 10 different undead you can control. You've got spells going on, which is really nice. Goes through the spellcasting ability. You've got a grimoire, essence points, life tap. I mean, just all kinds of very Necromancer flavored items to deal with, which is really cool. It says by level 7, your Necromancer's mastery over the undead is further dramatically. Your Necromancer may now, as an action, spend 3 essence points per enemy targeted, up to a maximum of its intelligence modifier, to override an undead creature's will with a command of their choice. So the creature can be within 60 feet, and the command may not be harmful to it, but basically you're gaining control of an undead, which is really cool. And you've got life tap. At first level, your touch can siphon the life force of others to bolster your own. As an action, you can make a melee spell attack against a living creature, dealing necrotic damage equal to 1d8 plus your int modifier on a hit. You gain temporary hit points equal to that amount. So that's cool. And then, of course, you have your research with your essence in this little grimoire that you have. You can copy spells into your grimoire. I mean, just a lot of fun stuff going on in here. You can manipulate undead. So as an action at the cost of 1 essence point per enemy, you can target a number of undead creatures, and they have to make a wisdom saving throw, and on a failure, the target undead are rebuked. And so when they're rebuked, they cannot target the necromancer with attacks or spells, including AoE spells or area spells. Additionally, the rebuked undead must spend its movement each turn to flee the necromancer until they no longer have line of sight. So really just a fun way to have necromancer as a totally separate class. You know, we have the School of Necromancy for spells, but necromancer is a class you see in a lot of video games, and we just haven't seen it officially in Dungeons and Dragons. So it's so cool to see it brought to life here with gorgeous artwork. And as I said, you know, it's normally $7.99 with the up to 25% off discount at $6.79, but with our discount, it's going to be 33% off, so it's going to be even less than that. And, you know, a lot of times our discounts are cheaper than you'll ever see in an automated sale. Like the price right now for everyone is a automated sale price. So you want to take advantage of these sales while they last. They last a maximum of 1 week. Usually by the time we show them on this video, part of that week has elapsed. So you want to grab this and make sure you're following us everywhere at Splinterverse so you can get those on Monday, those exclusive discounts. But check it out. It's in the timestamps below. It's first link, and it's also in the pinned comment in the alphabetical list under Necromancer class. Check it out. Our first new release is Adventure Begins Here from Burning Light Press, and it says a guide to beginning campaigns with 8 introductory scenarios, and it's 5th edition compatible. But a lot of these scenarios, I was looking at them, you can adapt them pretty easily, even if you're a newer DM to other games, which is cool. It's $7 for the 39 pages for PDF, but you can also get a softcover for $12 or both for the same price, which is really nice. So it's just meant to kickstart your custom campaign. It's to help the GM have options for ways to start it out. Everything from tavern drinks, killing rats, starting in a jail cell, at the dungeon entrance, on a forest path, the dragon's den, just tons of good stuff in here. I really enjoyed looking through this book on the preview here. So you can see all the different scenarios, and then it gives you kind of a brief description of each one, and then how to connect them even. Like you could connect the tavern drinks to the killing rats, because it says the tavern drinks can quickly act as a springboard into any of the other scenarios. For example, during the night, the party could be approached for killing rats, forest path, or merchant caravan while they're at the tavern, which is pretty cool. And so it goes through several of those scenarios in this. I think you get to see quite a lot of them. Yeah, you get to see all the way through a shackled fate here. So you can really get a good grasp of what's up with this book by just looking through here. But like here's the Rusty Nail. It gives you the intro, then it gives you 2 games that are commonly played there, and it gives you kind of the rules for those games, and then it gives you some encounters that can happen, and then some NPCs. And that's kind of like a similar structure throughout. They've got NPCs, they've got different events that are going to happen, rewards, etc. Here's preparation, all the different locations, the NPCs again for this one. So I like the clean, it's all kept to a single page, so you don't have to flip back and forth. Very, very nice. So under the Rusty Nail, it says a warm wooden tavern of high roofs, eclectic chairs, and hearty meals. The Rusty Nail sits in opposition of its tarnished namesake, run by the halfling Gilly Littleleaf and her large family. The tavern is a hodgepodge of tables, chairs, beds, and meals of all sizes and shape, a fitting match for its owner and her children. And then some of the games include Lowland Fiver, a local card game. Its main objective is for the player to hold a higher value hand than their opponent. Each player is given 5 random cards they then wager on if they believe they have the best hand, folding if desired. So kind of a variant of poker. And Daggers, a simple game. The contestants must throw daggers at a target, so then there's all the rules for that. And then of course the whole Little Leaf family. And then you've got encounters like a drunken fight or the Beast of Windrop Farm. It says, at some point during the evening, most likely after dealing with the drunks or winning a game of daggers, a local farmer named Windrop will approach the party, a nervous and tired-looking man. He will seek their aid in dealing with a problem that has been plaguing his farm for a few weeks. Every few nights, a creature has been disturbing his lands, eating crops and livestock. So then you have to help with that, and it gives you all the details on that as well. So I love this. It's so easy. Everything you need is on the page. And you can embellish it with maps. You can embellish it with additional creatures or other things that you wanna deal with. But it's just a great, really framing device to set up everything for you to kick off your campaign, or in my opinion, even just build a one-shot. It doesn't have to be the beginning of the campaign. So even though this is adventure begins here, it can be the middle or even near the end. So you never know when somebody's not going to show up to a session. So having something like this on hand, and to have it in print for $12 is pretty cool too. So I think you should check it out. It's under Adventure Begins here in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Axian Library, designed for old school essentials, OSR, Labyrinth Lord, all that good stuff. And it's by Axian Spice and Giuseppe Rotondo. And it's a collection of 5 different zines, mostly geared toward old school essentials and other old school systems, featuring optional rules and dozens of tables to enhance your game, including wondrous weavings, warped and weird, mysteriously missing, and merrily met. So basically alternate rules for arcane and divine casters, complete with magical mishaps, divine intervention, curses and quests, and lots of arcane wonders and divine relics. You've also got tables for missing players and replacement characters, a lot of tables to create unique dragons with secret weaknesses. I mean, just a mixed bag of things that could be really handy. And a lot of these I feel like work as is for 5th edition as well, because they're more like backstory things. But you can see inside they've got the introduction, talking about spell casting, beginning spells, ritual casting, all that stuff. Then down here, this is dealing with people that are missing from the table for the week. Then you've got notable novices and notorious newcomers. So this is backstories and NPCs, etc. Pious prayers and powerful prodigies, more divine spellcasting stuff. And then here's your deadly dragons, dire and daunting, to get you into building a dragon with some cool backstory. So you get to see 60 of the 136 pages. So you get a good chunk to look through. I'm just scrolling through real fast so you can kind of get an idea. Let me zoom out so you can see some of and lots of cool tables with information to get you going, like alternate magical mishap table. I mean, just these mishaps is going to give you a lot of value. You can almost always use mishaps, and not all of them have mechanics to them. So it says the spell fails spectacularly, producing 3 mishaps. So you can even have multiple mishaps. Arcane wonders. All different kinds of things like arcane cheese or chess. Let me zoom in and see what that says. Cheese, yeah. Arcane cheese, astrological anvil, learning wand. I mean, there's just so much packed into this. This is, last seen in town. So this is dealing with somebody who's missing. So old creditors pursued the character who owes them 1d100 GP per character level. The player may decide to finally pay their debt or face the consequences, which may involve the local criminal underworld at the referee's discretion. So that could be why somebody missed the last session and now they're back. And so you're explaining it, and then they're rolling this 1d100 to see how much they paid off or didn't pay or were owed, etc. So I like this, that you can get this. There's a ton of options in here for last seen in a dungeon, right? And it says the character fell into a deep pit or a pit trap and they had to climb back up to freedom. Player must make a dex check. If the check fails, their dex increases by 1, but they suffer 3d6 plus 3 damage. If the check succeeds, they climb back up unscathed. So yeah, even an NPC that disappears, you can use some of these things to explain where they went and how, what happened to them while they were gone, and now they're back, and these are the consequences. And I would think if you're basically making the player lose gold or come back with damage, they might not miss a session. If hey, I had to explain why you were gone. You fell in a pit. You took 3d6 plus 3 damage. I don't want that to happen. Don't miss. So lots of options, backstories. It says the new character is a welcome addition to the party because everyone knows they bring good luck. The new character and all other party members gain +1 to all their saves as long as the new character is alive. The bonus only applies for sessions the new character participates in. Very cool. another way to encourage play. So as I said, a lot of this can work for 5th edition, but it's definitely going to work for old school essentials and OSR. So really love all the different options in here and just the cool look of it. I love tables, and there's some really good tables in here to mess around with and repurpose. Like I said, these magical mishaps, you can use that for, you know, wild surges. You can use it for other places where you need a wild effect. I mean, tons of reuse for this book, I think, and $9.99 is a reasonable price, especially for 136 pages. So check it out. It's in the links below under Axian Library. Give it a click. Next, we have the Big Book of Adventure Hooks, which is, as the title states, a treasury of prompts to get your adventures going. It's a suggested price of $1 for 11 pages from Crimson Terrain. And it says, looking for a little inspiration for your next campaign? Look no further than this book. There's a collection of over 100 clever hooks that will jumpstart your creativity and help you craft unforgettable adventures. So I love this because it's a suggested pay what you want price. And I think $1 is reasonable to get, you know, 100 hooks. You're paying like 10 cents a hook, basically. So we can see some of those in the preview. You get to see 5 of the 11 pages. And so this first page, we'll just read a couple of them on here to give you an example. So the party is hired by a local lord to investigate strange happenings in a nearby village. Rumors abound of a powerful artifact hidden in an ancient ruin. Can the party find it before others do? A creature from another world has been spotted in the area, and it's up to the party to stop it before it can cause any harm. A group of mercenaries has been hired by the local lord to help protect his lands. Can the party stop them before they do more harm than good? The party stumbles upon a group of cultists who are worshipping an evil deity and must put a stop to their plans before they can enact whatever dark scheme they have in mind. So lots of stuff in here. The party is transported to a strange realm where they must save a group of people from a terrible fate. However, it turns out that the realm is ruled by a deity who wants nothing more than to see all life suffer. So, you know, these could really, you know, inspire you to write an entire campaign, 1 to 20 even, with some of this stuff. Or you could even take a couple hooks from this book and weave together a campaign. If you're somebody who likes to mostly create your own stuff, this could be a really fun book to just prompt you and ask the questions that are needed to get you going. And, you know, it could even morph beyond this to where it's not even one of these prompts anymore. But that's okay. That's the point of these. It's not that you have to stick word to word to these hooks, which is another reason I love adventure hooks, is they're just really meant to tease you, to get you thinking, to get your head in that creative space, and to lead to adventure. So look for it under Big Book of Adventure Hooks and give it a click. Next, we've got Deveros In A Nutshell by Vinestra, and it is free on a suggested price, although you can contribute some money, and the author is Giles Penfold. It's 113 pages, and it's a high fantasy 5th edition city campaign setting that is going to be published in 2024 after 4 years of development. So this is some early insight into that world, the culture of the Ďař Empire and the metropolis of Deveros. So prior to the Kickstarter that they're going to have later. So this is great. You know, you can get it for free, take a look at it, see if you want to support the Kickstarter. So it gives you a brief introduction to the universe of Vinestra, an overview of how Vinestra works for both game masters and players, cultural insight into the lives of the Aldarans, a fantasy group of humans, a preview into Embers, an optional rule system allowing both PCs and NPCs to ascend as demigods and attain powerful abilities, a select preview of spells, feats, and backgrounds, a quick start guide to the city of Deveros, including new rule sets, such as for bathing and making offerings to the gods, because this is kind of Roman inspired, and then the full version of one of the 20 different districts in Deveros, and then a free adventure, which takes the PCs from levels 1 to 3 while introducing them to the culture of Aldaran and the troublesome gangs of Crew Ors Isle. So some really fun stuff, and you can see, look at the gorgeous artwork and layout in here. I love this map of Deveros, really cool. And then, you know, plot hooks they have as well. So we're going to see if we can zoom in and read any of this for you, because they don't have a full-size preview on this. But yeah, look, I mean, these stat blocks are really cool. You got a 1, 8, a 1, a 5, so various levels of challenge ratings, lesser vampires, so you're going to get some different options for vampires. You could even port these into like a Ravenloft if you want. I mean, look at how detailed Deveros is. And then down here you've got this. I think this is on the location, one of the locations. It could be the part of the location or the adventure, I'm not sure. But looking at the plot hooks, it says Gallus Maximus, the famed giant cockatrice of Korar's Crucible, has gone missing. Ambrose Popularis has issued a sizable reward for whoever brings the headstrong cockatrice back to the arena. The gladiators of the arena suspect someone at odds with Ambrose is pulling a prank on them with a mind to swindle the vile pitmaster out of his gold. So that's cool because there's a lot of different characters. There's several angles that could go. I love that there's this whole arena. Reminds you of the Colosseum in Rome, which again, this is, you know, Rome inspired. There's a various event table here. It says a fishing vessel pulls back into the docks, looking battered and worn. A fisher collapses from the boat onto the pier without even moving or without even mooring. The ship has been attacked by a disc threader spawn. So that's one of the creatures, new creatures from this set. I mean, it's going to be really fun, I think, especially if you like, you know, Theros or anything, you know, ancient world. You're going to really like this. And to be able to grab it for $0 if you want, I think that's awesome. And, you know, a lot of people have regret of not backing certain Kickstarters when they're live and getting those special editions and things like this. So this one might be, you know, a great one to check out and then kind of, you know, see what you can do to sign up for their mailing list or whatever and be there to back it later on. So check it out. It's in the links below under Deveros in a Nutshell. Give it a click. Next we got the Halcyon Coast from 𝙤𝙘𝙀, and it's $7.95 for 32 pages. So sit back and relax at the Halcyon Coast, where all your troubles melt away. Visit the idyllic Saren Beach, where you can enjoy the sun, participate in beachside activities, and even learn a new local sport. If that's not enough, try the 𝙤𝙀 Shore Retreat, featuring a world-class spa, themed performances, and excellent snacks. So you get 6 pages of background, 11 activities for the beach, a druid subclass, 20 items, 16 monsters, 8 beachside discoveries, and 12 adventure hooks. So looking inside, you can see 𝙤𝙀𝙀 always has a nice layout, easy to find stuff, very organized. See all the different magic items here. So they have something called the Conchuist of the Seas, all the way down to Wand of Clams. In terms of the beachside activities, they've got artistic contests, competitive sports like diving and swim racing, leisure activities like druid tours, fishing, kite flying, etc. And for the monsters, they got sand clippers, tangle kelp, dagger shark, indigo coral, storm spike snail. I mean, just a bunch of stuff. So very, very cool. And you can see just beautiful art always in 𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀's stuff. So this is the intro to the Halcyon Coast, and you've got the different locations, details about the different locations. And then you get down further, get to see more locations, even some snacks. So we'll look at some of those snacks, but you get to see 7 of the 32 pages. So under Salt Slinger Treats, arguably the best food stop in this resort, the snack stand serves tasty treats to the beachgoers on the Sunline Boardwalk. Select a few snacks from the table or roll to randomly pick some. So one is called Buried Treasure. This locally sourced ale is topped with sprinkles of yellow gold turmeric spice. Lucky patrons who dig beneath the sand like layer to discover a copper piece below. And then you've got Clear Skies. This light blue frozen mint treat is topped with fluffy cotton marshmallow clouds and a peach chunk sun served on a crispy grain cone. So very cool. And so 𝙤𝙀𝙀 Shore Retreat, a small section of the shoreline south of Saren Beach, belongs to the 𝙤𝙀𝙀 Shore Retreat, a privately owned vacation club seeking to capitalize on pleasant views and weather. The resort's excessive gold trim, pastel pinks, and gentle blue palette exudes a glamour buoyed by its unreasonably cheerful staff, lavish amenities, and extravagant events. Guests quickly find themselves enamored with their stay, but the observant may sense emptiness among the wealth. So it seems like there's a mystery there. It talks about how much the rooms are, talks about the different owner. It looks like the owner here, who's a gnome, So all kinds of background. I love the lore in 𝘬𝙁 books. It's always detailed, always well written. No mistakes that I can see, or punctuation errors or things like that. So I really always look forward to new stuff from 𝘬𝙁. And you always get great art with it too. I mean, look at this beach. It's full of people running around and doing things. And so very cool. So if you know, coasts are not always very well developed in a lot of books. So having a really cool developed coast, new subclass, new items, new monsters, even if you just take some monsters out of here, take some items out of here, I mean, it's $7.95 and you get 32 pages of really well-written stuff. So check it out under Halcyon Coast in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Lamassu of Zul from 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙬𝙀 and Cliff Dunn. So, you know, 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙬𝙧 has been releasing smaller releases every week for their Mega Continent of Zul and Free City of Vateshar to get you connected to that campaign little by little over weeks, so that you can eventually have like a really deep understanding. You know, sometimes you buy these books that cover the entire campaign and you just kind of skim it, you bounce around. It's harder for you to keep up. With this strategy of releasing small books, it can make you really focus on each little part of it, so that when you finally do pull together your campaign, you've got a deeper connection, which is cool. And look at this fun artwork on the front. And it says, once advisors to demigods and immortal kings, the ancient Lamassu of Zul have retreated from the counsels and memories of the mortal races that they once tutored and protected, having grown aloof and suspicious of human motives. Their noble bearing, moral superiority, and archaic language give the impression of coldness, disdain, and intolerance. Inhabiting abandoned temples and ruins and wastelands of deserts, their presence serves to ward those sites against the incursion of worse monsters. The Lamassu may be returning to the lands of mortals, but what that return portends is known only to their inscrutable selves. So these are mysterious sort of demigod-like creatures. So they're semi-divine, and they have a relationship to the ancient giant kings. There's a lot of lore, how to incorporate them into your campaign, and of course hooks. You always get these really great detailed hooks from 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙬𝙧 products. So you can see the table of contents with this really beautiful artwork. I love it. Very Mesopotamian looking. Just cool. And then you get some real world historical notes on Lamassu. And it talks about Mesopotamia. So that's helpful too, to know some of the background. And then here's the Lamassu of Zul. It's CR 12. It's got lair actions. It says the Lamassu shifts itself and up to 4 other creatures it can see within its lair to the ethereal or astral plane. Once outside its lair, the Lamassu can't use lair actions, but it can return to its lair as a bonus action on its turn, taking up to 4 creatures with it. So it can teleport. It can cause a gust of wind. It can bring forth a simulacrum of any non-magical book, tome, scroll, or tablet. Very cool. And that's just the regional effects. It's got a lot of spell casting and other things going on too. And then you've got these adventure hooks. I mean, look at how long they are. I love that. Really long hooks. And then at the end, you've got 𝙤𝙤𝙘 Khan, who is a challenge 2. And is probably involved in something. And there's even a magic item amulet of the Sift here. While wearing the amulet, the wearer can use an action to cast a limited polymorph spell on themselves. The wearer may only polymorph into a humanoid. The transformation will last until dawn or until dispelled. But after the first hour and for each subsequent hour, the wearer suffers 1 HP of necrotic damage. If the wearer is reduced to 0 HP or goes unconscious while wearing the amulet, the polymorph is dispelled and cannot be used again until dawn. So that's a fun little item that you get in here as well. For this 99 cents, I mean 99 cents, you're getting all of this, getting really connected to this upcoming campaign, which is great. So I love this. I think this creature just looks really cool. There's just so much history connected to Mesopotamia. You know, most people think of ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, right? They don't think about Mesopotamia too much. And so I think it's really cool to see it explored more, and to have such a really cool looking creature with really fun lair actions and things. And I like that it's not just like pure evil. I mean, what is its alignment? It's lawful good, right? So you can have this sort of powerful ally potentially, and then you get all these. I mean, this hook, it starts here, it goes over a page. I mean, that's a really good hook. That's almost a full encounter with how much information you're getting. So I think you need to grab it for 99 cents. It is under Lamassu of Zul in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Lockpickery, the lockpicking minigame from Bob World Builder, who has a big YouTube channel. You should look for it and subscribe if you haven't already. Really fun content on that channel. But now Bob has a book here as well, and it's $1.50 for 2 pages, and author Robert Mason. And lockpicking is an archetypal activity of fantasy stories and games, whether it's to unlock a long-forgotten chest, to rescue an innocent prisoner, or to perform the perfect heist. Your party needs to pick a lock every once in a while. Despite the significance of this dubious skill for thief and scout characters, the 5th edition reduces what should be a tense and trying moment to a single pass-fail die roll. Therefore, the purpose of this minigame is to provide a fun and engaging lockpicking experience linked to relevant 5th edition character features while keeping it possible for any character and keeping it simple. So that's awesome, because yes, it is normally just a simple die roll, which doesn't make sense because, you know, this is a craft, right? Why couldn't it be more involved? But what's nice is Bob is keeping it simple here, and you know, fun at the same time, and also maybe something that anybody could try, although they probably would have less success if they're not as skilled as maybe a rogue. So you get to see the whole book in the preview, and it shows how to use it at your table. It says, during combat, the player should roll 2d6 per round of picking. Otherwise, the d6s should be rolled all at once. If the player does not roll any ones, their character successfully picks the lock. If the player rolls even a single one, their character fails to pick the lock and the lock resets. However, all characters with Thieves' Tool proficiency can re-roll ones a number of times equal to their proficiency bonus to avoid failure. Characters with expertise in Thieves' Tools can re-roll a number of times equal to double their proficiency bonus. So that's cool. It's basically set up so that any character can try it, but then based on various things like your, you know, connection to Thieves' Tools gives you more opportunities to succeed and re-roll those ones into something usable. And then he gives you a whole example here of, you know, what would happen. So if the lock DC is 5, are Thieves' Tools required? No. How complex is it? How many tumblers? Which are these things, you know, down here? And it says how many tumblers. There's only 1, so basically you only have to deal with 1 set of dice, or, you know, 2d6 here. Rounds required 1, and then you can pick that lock easily. But then you get up to 30, you have to have the Thieves' Tools. There's 6 different tumblers, and there's 6 rounds required, and 12d6. So really cool. Definitely need to check it out under Lockpickery in the links below. Give it a... Next, we have Rat King Sewer by Ken Spencer and Necromancer Games. It's $13.99 for 28 pages for 5th edition. It's a dungeon crawl with a mystery set in the sewers beneath the city of Eastgate in the Borderlands provinces, found on the eastern side of the continent of Akados in the world of Frog God Games' Lost Lands. Eastgate is a bustling city at the mouth of the Eberron River. As most of the adventure takes place in the sewers, and nearly all of it in an urban setting, wilderness-oriented characters might find themselves at a disadvantage. Then again, the sewers are a maze and filled with all manner of deadly creatures. The ability to talk to cockroaches might just prove useful, and it's for tier 2 play. But I love this because it's, you know, takes place mostly in the sewers, so you could really port this almost anywhere that you haven't really fleshed out the sewers and that you want to have something happen. So looking inside, you get to see it goes through the different sections, and then you've got some appendices including sewer diseases, new creatures, and a whole faction, which is really cool. So here's your adventure overview, how to involve the characters, and then here is into the sewers of Eastgate. So conditions in the sewers, a gas pocket. So you're going to have to deal with maybe a gas pocket in this area here. So yeah, you have to do some perception checks, see if you can figure out what to deal with the poison there. Toxins, random encounters in the sewers, gelatinous cube, giant crocodile, floaters. So it says strange things end up in the sewers and the current moves them around. Some float along in the current, though not all of these things float. Some are instead found beneath the water. Once per hour, a floater comes by on a 1/2 on a 1d6. Characters can spend 10 minutes looking for a floater, making a roll on a table 2. On table 2 floaters, if they succeed a DC 13 investigation check, there's a 50% chance that any bottle, cask, crate, jug, or scroll case found has not become inundated with sewer water and the contents are still usable. Touching any dead thing found in the sewers runs the risk of contracting a disease, as does consuming any contaminated food or beverages. So a lot going on. There's floating things that you can encounter, and a cool table of those. There's diseases you can get if you consume something or touch something. So they have a whole appendix of sewer diseases, and then you've got all these floating things like a dead possum, a crate of wooden toys, a humanoid hand, a swarm of eyeballs, a jar of pickled eggs and beet juice, a cask of wine, a bundle of straw, a wind-up pigeon. I mean, you just go 100 different things here. Broken sign, round shield, metal lamp. So you can reuse the floating things some other location that has water. It could be even, above ground water where something, maybe there's a flood and so stuff's floating all around. You can also reuse those diseases in other underground sewer locations. So I love the reusability of this book already. I've seen 2 things in here that I could see reused really easily. So you want to keep that in mind when you're making purchases. Like, how many ways can I use this book? Is it just a straight up adventure and then that's it? Or are there pieces that I can pull out and reuse again? And this one is proving to be very useful. So involving the characters, it says there are several ways that the characters can get involved in investigating the 𝙈𝙤𝙤 clan and putting a stop to their nefarious plan. The default hook is that the commissary 𝙤𝙤𝙤, governor of Eastgate, hires the characters to recover the emerald. He heard the ransom request from the 𝙈𝙤𝙤s and concedes if he has to, but would prefer not to do so. The characters are to go into the sewers and recover the emerald. But alternatives are the characters might just be in it for the money. The jewel in question is an emerald the size of a baby's fist, and its value is beyond measure. Then you've also got Lady Volkula wants her emerald back and hires the characters to retrieve it, or a different faction wants the jewel and is willing to pay for its recovery, but the employer prefers to remain anonymous. So you could do a lot of like, who's the mysterious employer? Is it a rival? Is it even worse than the 𝙈𝙤𝙤 clan? What have we unleashed? Just so many things cool about this book. It's very well written and has lots of reusability. And look at this fun cover. Who doesn't like that? So you definitely want to grab this book. Look for it under Rat King Sewer in the links below and give it a click. Before we start with the DM's Guild books for the week, I do want to mention all of our wonderful books that you can get on sale right now. Literally every single one of our books is on sale, including our newest book, Swarms of the Multiverse, which is over 180 pages of swarm goodness. You've got brand new creatures, over 70 of those, as well as all of their swarm counterparts. So you get over 140 stat blocks, including minimum of 2 pages per creature with all sorts of lore, tactics, adventure hooks, and various little extra things like magic items or new demi-planes or diseases connected to these creatures. So it's a lot of fun, and it's in print and digital, and it's in the links below, along with our other books like Feywild Companion, which is over 150 pages of Feywild stuff, including subclasses, spells, items, adventures, encounters, monsters, just packed full of things in print and digital as well. Then you've got Potions Unlocked, over 100 pages in print and digital, with brand new potions, short stories for each one. How do they taste? How do they smell? How do you craft them? And then what are some of the potion vendors you can meet or potion themed locations you can visit, including a school where you can make a potion in a class and learn how to be basically a potion maker, stocked with NPCs to help you or to sell you various potion related items, including this traveling wagon and where the driver can see ghosts, which is a pretty fun story element. And it's got some VTT maps as well. Then we've got Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, dragon-themed subclasses for every class, horde magic items, draconic secrets, regular magic items, adventure hooks, a familiar trinkets, all dragon themed for you. Then we've got Van Richten's Librum of Lineages, which goes into the new concept of lineages and all those things that you can really do with them, including how to string them together or remove them from a character that's tired of having a lineage and wants to go back to the original race that they chose when they created their character. Then you've also got 4 conflict-driven lineages that you can use in any setting. And then we've got Secrets of the Draugr, which combines the Drow and the Duergar into a new race that has its own backstory, its own deities, a fortune-telling method, some subclasses related to it, some really fun things going on in that book as well. And all of them, every single one of them is on sale, I think, through the end of the month. I'm not sure how long the Christmas and July sale lasts. But speaking of that, virtually every book is on sale, so you want to click our links and do your shopping with us so we can get a small percentage of that affiliate fee. And of course, you want to support all these awesome creators we've talked about today. There's so many great ones. I really hope you check them all out and support them. And while you're at it, if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends, let them know about it, that would be awesome. And be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Splinterverse, so you can get those exclusive discounts every week, and all of our free content that we give out throughout the week. We give out trinkets, we give out plot hooks, little D6 tables, poll questions. We love participating and engaging with you through those free releases Monday through Friday every week. So check it out on our social media channels. All right, let's get into DM's Guild. First up, we have Eberron, Bloodied and Bruised, Rising from the Last War by Anne Gregerson. And this is part of a series of Bloodied and Bruised from Anne Gregerson. It's bringing back that 4th edition mechanic of Bloodied, where, you know, when a creature reaches a certain point in its hit point pool, it starts having new abilities, or something happens when it dies, or it gets a refresh on its abilities. So it makes the players keep guessing as to what's going to happen with some of the beloved creatures that they know. So, you know, for example, here it's got the Radiant Idol. It says when bloodied at 71 hit points, it gets a new ability called Divine Wrath. It has a trigger ability, spellcasting, and then death throws, a whole new death throw. So if the Radiant Idol is concentrating on a spell while bloodied, its weapon attacks deal additional radiant damage. When first bloodied, the Radiant Idol can use this reaction to cast a spell that normally requires an action. And then death throws, bright light burns in a silhouette of the slain Radiant Idol. Creatures within 10 feet of the Radiant Idol, when it dies, can see it must succeed on a con saving throw or be blinded, basically. So something happens when it dies, something happens when it gets to half hit points, multiple things happen when it gets some half hit points, and that can really make combat different, especially if it's dragging on, right? Having these things pop up and change, make a little different instead of same old is really cool. And so in this case, it's really covering, you know, Eberron Rising from the Last War, and it's got all the different creatures in there, including living spells, Dolgrims, dinosaurs, the Undying, Valinar, Warforged, and then even some NPCs are getting bloodied and bruised here. So very cool. I love this, and they're alphabetized so you can find them quickly. So if you have that book and this, you're covered, you're set, you have everything you need. So right off the bat, Belashira, when bloodied at 152 HP, Belashira has the following features. So legendary actions recharge, they get a new ability, Deadly Gaze, which if a creature fails a saving throw against one of Belashira's eye rays, the creature has a disadvantage on death saving throws for the next 24 hours. Then eye ray is a trigger ability. When first bloody, Belashira can shoot one random magical eye ray as a reaction. And then death throws, a swarm of semi-sentient eyes writhe out of its form and flies toward the living creature within 60 feet of where it died. Creatures in the area must succeed on a DC 22 int saving throw or be swarmed by dozens of eyes, and a swarm creature takes 22 psychic damage and is overcome with intense paranormal, which lasts for 3 days. During this time, the creature cannot sleep or gain benefits of a full rest, as it is convinced someone or something is watching it sleep. So how fun would that be to roleplay, right? Really cool death throw, and there's a bunch of them in here, and that's just one. I mean, that's the first one. and look at all the story possibilities from it. So this book is packed full of goodness that you can use, and it's only $1.95. Always incredibly inexpensive, the books from Anne Gregerson. It's amazing. So check it out. It's under Bloodied and Bruised, Eberron, Rising from the Last War. Give it a click. Next, we have Dangers in the Jungle by John Paget, $3.45 for 8 pages. It's got 5 jungle-themed adventures suitable for one-shots or part of his ongoing campaign. Each module gives you 3 to 4 hours of action. You've got some that are suitable for low, mid, and high level, so 1 to 12 basically. You've got hazards and dangerous terrain and rewards specific to the module. So, and then it gives you kind of a breakdown of each one here. But what I love about it is the kind of how it's set up in here, because it's just so well organized that you get like the name of the adventure, the difficulty, the background, the environment, the journey, the mystery, and then the rewards, and then it just goes on to the next one. So it's all just compact, really easy for you to explore and expand upon, and invent what happens, flesh out this adventure. But it has all the critical things that you need, so you can definitely run it as is. But I just like how compact and easy it is to reference. Everything's all on one page for you. So in this one, it says there's a settlement about a day's travel through dense jungle. The inhabitants are said to be women who occasionally barter with other communities for food and other materials. No one asked has seen anyone from the village for at least 2 weeks. So something happened there. It says it's hot and humid. You have to make con saving throws to avoid exhaustion, and then it tells you how to navigate to get there, and what might happen if they take a long rest. So there's vision flies, these glowing lights that they can see, or a large lizard, a giant mole gator, and then hazards when they get to the village. They have to make a perception check. If they fail, they're unsure about and maybe want to retreat for up to 1 hour, or until treated, the creature wants to move away from any known threat and has disadvantage against it. So it's kind of like a antipathy. And you've got villages noticeably abandoned, the huts appear, so there's this whole mystery they have to solve. And then you've got the encounters with the swarm of snakes, and all the information you need on that, and the swarm of dragon beetles. And then rewards, you get magical supplies and a busted up broom which flies once per day. So fun stuff, well laid out, easy to just look at this. Like even here they have this whole little grid thing they have to follow. So even though they're a single page, I mean, they're pretty cool how each one is different, and you have to kind of track things. But I love how you could just print this one page from your printer, or pull it up on your tablet or whatever, and that's all you need. And then the rest you can just kind of deal with it on your own, either improvising or using D&D Beyond or whatever you've got available. If your characters take a turn left when they're supposed to go right, you can wing it. But it's also cool because it's jungle, right? There's not a lot of jungle stuff out there, so very cool. Check it out under Dangers in the Jungle in the links below. Give it a click. Next we've got Domains of the Vault from Moth Eaten Press, $2 for 11 pages, and it's a compilation of cleric subclasses, everything from the Beast domain all the way down to the Winter domain. And there's some new spells, and some of them tie into the domains themselves. And then you've also got a new item called the Bell of the Faithful. And it's really cool to see all of these together. And it's, a lot of times you see like a subclass compilation, but it's like for all the classes, so to have one that's really focused on just clerics is cool. Because some people, they only play one class, or they have a couple favorite classes like clerics. And so to just give them all of this in one book is really cool. And a lot of these in this particular book have previously been published, and the author's gone back and refined them based on feedback. So this should be a pretty well put together volume based on past experience with these. And you get to see 6 pages, so you get to see quite a bit of the domains here. So the Beast domain here, you learn Primal Savagery at the beginning. Of course, you have an expanded spell table. You gain the ability to sense those around you, regardless of whether or not you can see them. As an action, you can open your awareness and gain Blind Sense out to a range of 30 feet. And then As an action at second level, you can unleash a roar and embolden yourself. All allies, including yourself, within 30 feet can, as a reaction, move up to their full speed and make an attack or melee cantrip attack. Or melee cantrip attack. Attacks made as part of this add your wisdom modifier to the attack roll. And then at 6th level, you have an armored hide. So you get movement speed, and you gain a number of temporary hit points. And then Feral Strike at 8th level. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can cause the attack to deal extra force damage. And that damage increases when you get to the 14th level. And then lastly, at 17th level, anytime you cast a spell 1st level or higher, you replenish hit points equal to your wisdom modifier plus the spell's level. In addition, you can make an attack or use a melee attack cantrip as a bonus action. So that was just one. We just read through the whole beast domain for you, which sounds fun. And then you've got the death domain, decay domain, destiny domain, dragon domain, madness domain that you can read here. So the only one you're not getting to see is a winter domain. But I mean, you're getting to see all the others for free in the preview. And it's only $2 to get all of these subclasses. So I think it's going to be worth it if you like clerics. So check it out under Domains of the Vault in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Druid Circle of Monstrosities from Tabletop Journeys LLC, and Tabletop Journeys does a really fun podcast for D&D and other things. So if you like podcasts, you need to look for their podcast out there and subscribe to it. I do. It's a really fun one. I enjoy listening to them, and they occasionally publish books as well. And this one's only 99 cents. It's 4 pages. You know, the Dungeons and Dragons movie trailer came out recently, and in there they have a druid transforming into an owlbear, which is a monstrosity as opposed to a beast. So there's been a lot of authors releasing subclasses to try to give you that option in game, since it's not presently available. And so this is one of the ones that I saw and I wanted to share, especially since I really enjoy their podcast. So it says, are you looking for a druid that is at home with the more monstrous aspects of your game world? Look no further, owlbear fans, because here you are. The Druid Circle of Monstrosities has you covered. So you can see here pretty much almost everything in this preview, which is very nice. So you get your whole circle here. I'm going to zoom in. So you get a monstrous mark, which is nice. You know, I love when subclasses have little lore tables to give you something extra. Beastly senses. Your eyes are particularly keen in a variety of settings. You gain proficiency in perception skill checks or expertise if you already are proficient. As well, you gain dark vision out to a range of 60 feet. If you already have dark vision, it is increased by 30 feet, the range there. And then you get spells, which is cool. And then they give the list of spells here. And then starting at 6th level, moving through a non-magical difficult terrain costs you no extra movement. You can also pass through non-magical plants without being slowed by them and without taking damage from them if they have thorns, spines, or a similar hazard. And then monstrous shape. You have spent so much time around the monstrosities of your home plane of existence. You can take the shape of a single known creature. When you reach 10th level, declare a monstrosity with a CR rating of your proficiency bonus or lower. Once per long rest, you can use your wild shape power to morph into this monstrosity as an action. So it's only once per long rest you can do it, but it gives you that option to get into an owlbear if you want. And I'll leave the 14th one a mystery for you, so you can come back and read it on your own, because I do want you to support this book. But it's exciting to have these options, especially so quickly after the trailer came out, to be able to get your owlbear on if that's really what you want to do, which is exciting. So check it out under Druid Circle of Monstrosities in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Humble Beginnings Level 0 Characters by Tyler Aiden Gray. It's suggested price of $2 for 14 pages. And it says it's a supplement to allow players to start their characters at level 0. They play through events that will determine their ability scores that they will use at level 1 to determine what class to play. So it's encouraging people to role play before they pick their class, etc. So, you know, there's a number of ways to decide what class you're going to play, and it might be fun to actually go about it through this approach, to where you're kind of locked into certain abilities before you even pick your class, but it's through a role-playing opportunity. So it's a system of ability checks and saving throws to determine a character's strengths and weaknesses. Succeeding or failing through ability encounters will determine the character's overall ability scores by increasing or decreasing them. At the end of level 0, the player will have their character's final ability scores and a better understanding of who their character is and what class to play when they reach level 1. So you choose your race, and then you got your ability scores, hit points. At level 0, characters begin with a 10 in all of their ability scores. All level 0 characters will also have a D10 hit die and 10 hit points. In addition, level 0 characters will have a proficiency bonus of 1. And then you describe your character, and then equipment. You will not have a lot of gear, of course, and then coming together, it says creating an adventuring party is an integral part of playing. Starting at level 0 allows the players to be part of and interact with how the party forms. Talk to your DM to determine how the group may come together and what your role might be in making that happen. And then it goes into the tiers of play, and then it starts showing you how to run that whole level 0, and dealing with ability score adjustments based on what you do. So each character starts with a score of 10, and each of the 6 ability scores as they progress through level 0, they will have the opportunity to increase or decrease these scores. Ability scores are increased or decreased depending on how well the character does on an ability encounter. And so there's going to be ability encounters in here, examples of those, I'm sure, to show you, you know, based on what happened, are you going to -2 from the ability or +1, +2, etc. And then, you know, eventually it'll all even out to where you have kind of your stats, and you can figure out, okay, from here, what class do I want to be? So it's a fun alternative way. You know, if you've been playing for a long time and you want to try a different way, this could be a really cool option, especially at pay what you want price. So check it out. It's under Humble Beginnings in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have In-1 Against the Cult of the Reptile God by Ernie Noah. It's a conversion. It's $2.95 for 21 pages. And it links to the original adventure, so if you want to purchase that and then you know, use this conversion, you can do that, which is really cool. And it gives you some of the maps that are going to be in here, so that you have some VTT maps for literally everything. Ernie always includes a map for everything, which is so helpful, so then you don't have to worry about it finding those somewhere else, and you can really use your old encounters, dust those off if you already have that or you want to grab it. Maybe there's one you've always wanted to play, so you can click on Ernie's name and see all the other titles he's converted. But it goes through each you know, named location in the book, and basically tells you, okay, use the common or stat block for this character. This is what the DC check is for them to share awareness. Otherwise, everything's as written. So it's just focusing, because you're not allowed through DM's Guild rules to include the full adventure text. You can only include the changes. So that's why it kind of looks like this. But that's awesome, because look at how easy and quick it is. You can see 8 pages out of the 21 here. And a lot of them, you know, encounter may be run as originally written here. It says for 14 dormitory room or 12 cult utility and dining room. So why let these old fun adventures languish away, you know, when you can enjoy them through cool conversions like this? So look for it under In-1 Against the Cults of the Reptile God in the links below, and give it a click. Next, we got Planar Pockets, 𝘖, the Sea of Fire by the Featherfalls, and the Featherfalls. That's not the author, sorry. That's the subtitle. Samantha Flynn is the author, which is cool. It says explore a fragment of 𝘖, the Sea of Fire, and it's $4.99. 15 pages, already got a 5-star rating after an average of 3 ratings, which is cool. It says, in the midst of the Sea of Fire, the Asadi Peak rises, inhabited by phoenixes, Aarakocra, and magma mephits. Meet the leaders of the island, known as the Featherfalls, receive gifts of fire and feathers, and learn all about this unique community in 𝘖. And when the Featherfalls comes into conflict with the arrogant Afridi noble who owns a nearby estate, it will be up to you to thwart her plan, lest the Featherfalls come crashing down. So it's a floating granite isles, and then there's the cinder-streaked pumice coast. So this would be the elemental plane of fire, I'm guessing, somewhere in there, which is really cool. And it's got magic items, a new race, a racial feat, and of course a short adventure for characters at 10th level. So I love this. I love planner stuff. This is really cool. You know, with Radiant Citadel out now, maybe this could be like, there could be a door that takes you there from the Radiant Citadel. So you can see all the different denizens, the figures of interest, the little adventure. And I mean, just look at all the beautiful artwork throughout this book. Tons of phoenixes and different things to look at as you go through. There's even these magic items like the Phoenix Feather Cloak. This cloak is made of molted feathers, voluntarily donated by phoenixes of the Featherfalls and still flickering with very faint fire. When you are attuned to it, you gain resistance to fire damage. If you already have resistance, you gain immunity to it. In addition, while attuned to this cloak, you do not take bludgeoning damage from falling, and you are immune to the effects of cold weather. So, very helpful cloak to have on hand. And then you can see the adventure here at the end, and the conclusion of that adventure. So just, I feel like this is just a really well-rounded supplement because it has different things. Like here's a Coal Feather 𝘿𝙗𝙗, so it's a sub-race for the 𝘿𝙗𝙗. And you get those magic items and a feat called Child of Tranquil Lake. And then you get all these different NPCs and locations in this place. There's even a Phoenix here, CR16. Information on the Featherfalls. So somewhere in the Sea of Fire, a massive basalt volcano rises from the flames. Inside the crater lies the place known as the Featherfalls. Blazing fire spills down from the cracks in the crater's wall to the fiery Tranquil Lake. The inner walls of the caldera are pockmarked with caves. These caves have always housed a community of phoenixes. Floating on and above Tranquil Lake is a second community inhabited by flame-resistant 𝘿𝙗𝙗 that took up residence here generations ago. And I mean, it's just really cool to have this lore that you can use for this really fun volcanic location. You just don't really get to explore these other planes very much, and so I'm just excited with what Samantha has done here, because I think it's going to give people just a really fun adventure, really nice little cover. You can see the Phoenix flying over, and then, you know, some 𝘿𝙗𝙗 down here doing their thing. So even the artwork is worth it. So $4.99 to get all this planner goodness with nice layout and artwork, I think is a reasonable price. So check it out under Planar Pockets, Vernia, in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Players Unleashed, Heroes of the Frontier, and it's basically a character supplement from Leo Parlow and Green Mountaineers Publishing. And it says, beyond the safety of stone walls, paved roads, and stern guards lie the wilds of the natural world. Cobblestones wreathed in vines that crack apart the stone at a pace slower than any mortal can perceive. The corpses of farms lie forgotten and unburied, save for the leaves and undergrowth that now covers them. This is the wild, a land overrun with orcs, trolls, giants, and other foul creatures, eager to test the skill and courage of adventurers young and old alike. Beyond civilized lands walk rangers, druids, barbarians, and other primal classes that draw power from the nature around them. This supplement adds a myriad of player options, including a rework of the beloved ranger, new subclasses, new items, and new spells. So you get 4 new subclasses, 3 of which are for the ranger, new heroic virtues, which are feat-like buffs that can be awarded to players, 4 new primal spells, and a host of new magic items. So very cool stuff. So right away we're looking at the heroic virtues. So you have to be a ranger and have Hunter's Mark for Agile Hunter here. When you score a critical hit against a creature marked with your Hunter's Mark spell, you can use your reaction to move up to your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. So that's cool how it's tied into a spell, and you have to have a spell as a prerequisite. Die Hard, you are either incredibly hardy or incredibly lucky, as death seems to evade you at every opportunity. When making death saving throws, you only die upon reaching 4 failures. In addition, your hit point maximum cannot be reduced. So you gain a +2 bonus to your armor class against the attack rolls of larger creatures with Giant Slayer as a heroic virtue. So lots of fun ones already. And then here's all the reworks for the ranger. And there's a lot of information here, and then you get, of course, subclasses related to that, and then you got some barbarian archetypes, including Path of the Verdant Lord. Like the forest you call home, you draw on the nutrients and strength from around you, channeling the radiance of the sun, the splendor of the skies, and the bitterness of winter. You are the verdant guardian, the keeper of the trees, and the master of the wild. Those who oppose you soon find themselves trapped by thick bows and sturdy roots, unable to move as you close in for the kill. So that could be cool, like a root-themed barbarian almost. And then you got magic items like Blizzard Weapon, Bow of the Seasons, Cleric Blade, Displacer Hide, Wildwood Axe, or Wild Blood Axe. So Displacer Hide is armor, and it's heroic rarity. This pitch black armor is made from the fur of the dreaded Displacer beast and treated with a secret ritual known only to the elves. You gain a +1 bonus to AC while wearing it. Additionally, when a creature hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to halve the damage and immediately fade away, appearing in an unoccupied space within 30 feet. You can use this feature twice and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. I love that because it's very thematic of the Displacer beast, you know, this disappearing and reappearing and having your damage is cool too. So really fun. And that's just what we can see in here. We're only, you know, getting time to quickly look at it, but can you imagine what all awaits you in here with all this really fun art and nice layout? So I encourage you to check it out. It's only $2 to get all this stuff. I mean, spells, magic items, heroic virtues, subclasses, a rework of the ranger. I mean, if you at all want to explore that stuff, I think $1.99 is super cheap. So check it out. It's under Players Unleashed, Heroes of the Frontier, in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we got RM3, Monsters of the Multiverse, the Ravenloft Files, new monsters from the Domains of Dread for $6 from 𝙤𝙘𝙤𝙬𝙤𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬, and it is it says the Mordenkainen's presents Monsters of the Multiverse, adds several new monsters to the game. In many cases, they are classic monsters from previous editions. Over the years, adventure modules and handbooks have contributed to create an almost infinite choice of creatures, many not yet updated to the 5th edition. So following the same concept, many monsters presented here are converted from past editions. So you'll get monsters with the same stat block style, completely new monster called the Death Angel, and a lot of classics that have been upgraded. So you can see here Death Angels, Elementals from Ravenloft, Darkened Beast, Death Skull, Geist, Ghoul Lord, Goblin, Hekuva, Campfolt, Quickwood, just a lot of stuff. And it's really cool. It's, you know, nicely organized, easy to read. So you got a blood elemental, a grave elemental, and they're ranging, like most of these are CR5s for the elementals. So let's look at the grave elemental. The grave elemental is a variant earth elemental that is drawn from the soil of a graveyard or a similar resting place. And let's see what kind of abilities it has down here. So it's got Earth Glide, but then it's got something called Sink. The elemental can force a creature into the very earth or floor upon which it stands. The subject creature becomes rooted to the spot unless it succeeds on a strength saving throw. If the subject fails the saving throw, it becomes restrained. The character can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns to end it. And it also, in the following turns, to use a free action to make this target slowly sink under the ground. At the start of each of its turns, the creature sinks more into the ground, being completely sunken. After 3 rounds, this entombment places a creature in a state of suspended animation. This means that the subject does not grow older, and bodily and other functions virtually cease, but the subject is otherwise unharmed. The subject exists in undamaged form in the surface into which it was sunk 10 feet deep. If the ground around the subject is somehow removed, the effect is broken and the subject returns to normal. Spells such as Move Earth will not harm the sunken creature and will often be helpful in rescuing it. So, fun little thematic action that new creature can take, or, you know, new elemental, I should say. So yeah, lots of new creatures in here that work outside of Ravenloft as well, but I like how the author has themed them for Ravenloft. You know, probably some of them came from Ravenloft older modules and stuff, so it made sense, but I think you can use them anywhere, so that's cool. But it's nice to have them grouped this way so you can get really kind of that feel for Ravenloft, because they will work really well there, especially a grave elemental. I mean, there's lots of graves in Ravenloft for sure. So check it out under RM3, Monsters of the Multiverse, the Ravenloft Files, and links below. Give it a click. Next, we got Untold Subclasses, Way of the Custodian, from Keith Hiscox. It's $1.95 for 8 pages, and it's a monk subclass with 3 optional feats, an NPC stat block, and 3 new magic items, as well as rules to create more magic items with drawbacks. Monks following the way of the Custodian strive to protect the world from those who would misuse magical items. Adventuring monks seek out and collect powerful and dangerous magical items and artifacts, transporting them back to secret temples and hard-to-reach locations. Static monks guard these repositories of items, leading lives of quiet contemplation, but watching, waiting, and ever ready to protect these magical items and prevent their use. One of the difficulties with playing a monk is the need to explain why your monk has left the sanctuary of their temple and ventured out into the big wide world. Well, this subclass is clear why you're out there to grab things and return them. So pretty cool. So looking inside, you get to see a little bit of the subclasses, but then you also have these optional feats, and then you get a CR4 stat block to have as an NPC if you want to have, maybe your character meet either somebody from their sanctuary or to use it as an enemy. Either way is fine, but it says you are unusually hesitant to the effects of curse and are resistant to the effects of curse and magic items. Whenever you make a saving throw against an item's curse or a magic item's effect, you may choose to add half your proficiency bonus to the roll. In addition, when you take damage from an item's curse or a magic item's effect, you may subtract half your proficiency bonus rounded up from the damage. And then at 6th level, you gain the ability to avoid unwanted attention. This feature affects creatures who cannot see you and attempt to track or find you or an item in your possession. Such creatures must pass a wisdom saving throw with a DC equal to your passive insight. This saving throw must be passed before a creature can target you with a divination spell or make an ability check to find you. You may, as a bonus action, spend a number of key points to extend your Cloak of Humility to encompass an equal amount of other creatures, so you can kind of hide the party, it looks like. And then under 11th feature, you automatically guide your unarmed melee attacks to strike when the chance of disabling your foe is greatest. If your roll to successfully hit a creature with an unarmed melee attack is lower than your passive insight, then you add your wisdom bonus to the damage and you gain advantage and the same wisdom bonus damage on your next attack. And then you also have advantage on ability checks and saving throws made to prevent another creature from taking an object from you against your will. So very themed to objects and hiding and all that stuff. And I'm not reading all the abilities because I want you to come here and read it yourself, but looks fun. And I think Keith always does an interesting job of coming up with these like weird off the beaten path themes for the subclasses, and then they end up working really in a really unique way, which I think is fun. So only $1.95 to support this, get all this stuff, and as a DM you can use this as an enemy even. So check it out in the links below under Untold Subclasses Way of the Custodian and give it a click. All right, that was our last new release. I just want a sneak peek of what we're going to give a discount on next week. We give our discounts at Splinterverse on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter every week, Monday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Dungeons with Plumbing, a guide for the practical dungeoneer by Danny Kodasak, $7.99 normally, but we're going to have a discount for you on it. And it's a book that really is about making your dungeon come to life through exploring, how does the air get in there? How do the creatures survive? What is the ecology of what's happening in there? How do I populate this dungeon? It's just a really fun book that gives you all kinds of just information to support creating your own dungeon. And we're going to take a deep dive into it in next week's video. But I think you're going to really like this one. It's just so many good ideas to help you flesh out your dungeon, make it come to life, which could be great. So that's our discount for next week. Well, thanks so much for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. I will respond to all comments, and consider purchasing some of our books. They're all listed in the video description as well. We got 6 different books available for you, and they're all on sale right now. And speaking of sales, almost everything on DM's Guild and DriveThruRPG is on sale. So if you click any of the links down below for the titles we've talked about this week and make any purchase, we're going to get a small percentage. And you should go through your wish list right now. It's one of the biggest sales of the year. Try to get stuff while you can at these lower prices. And of course, support all the awesome titles we've shared this week. There's just so many good ones, and I think you'll enjoy all of them. So grab those titles as well. And if you are a creator, just keep on trucking, keep on working. I know it's tempting to go play video games or do other things, but you know, if you stick with it, you will get these books done that you're working on, and they will get out there, and you'll be happy to see the joy that they bring to others. And you can always play your video games later. I mean, you know, even if your goal is to just create a single book, you know, why not do it and have that accomplishment that you can look back on and see all the joy that you get out of it from people's reactions, which is fun. So hang in there, keep going. And for everybody watching, thanks so much for supporting the channel and watching this series. And until next time, happy adventuring.